Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Please like, share and comment. Please subscribe. Thank you to all those who have been supporting. Thank you to all those who leave comments, likes and share my videos. Thank you so much. If you're new here, please subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. Leave a comment. Just tell us which country you're listening from. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love. It is all appreciated. Now, enjoy the story. Once upon a time, there lived a man named Okechukwu. Okechukwu and his wife Ngozi lived in the Amanze village. They lived in poverty. They had only one farm and used it to feed their small family. Their only source of joy and happiness was their daughter Uju. Uju was the most beautiful girl in the village. She was so beautiful that people thought that her beauty was definitely from the gods. How can such a beautiful girl be born to these poor people, they would say. Uju was very humble and respectful. She was kind and always ready to help. This made her more desirable to mothers who wanted her to be their daughter-in-law. In the Amanze tradition, the bride price was paramount. It was very important to get him married. The standard bride price at that time, when a man wanted to marry any girl for the Amanze village, was to produce 50 tubers of yam, 20 she goats, 5 boxes of wrappers, 6 kegs of palm wine, 50 kola nuts, 1 bottle of ground puff, 3 big cows, 25 male chickens, and 8 bottles of original schnapp. The groom also had to bring money for the opening of the gate, for the umuada, for the ndiche, for the igwe, and finally the principal money for the bride price. This was standard. And now, because Uju was the most beautiful girl in the village, people expected that her bride price would be double of that, naturally. Again, this was because she was the most beautiful girl in the village. This made sense to them. In addition to that, she was also a good girl who was brought up to be a good wife. Now, this made it so that the only people who asked for her hand in marriage were wealthy men, people who could afford to double the bride price. So Obinna, with confidence, went up to Okechukwu to ask for his daughter's hand in marriage. He was a wealthy businessman. People knew him as one of the largest cocoa farmers in the village. So naturally, people expected that he would be able to pay the bride price and marry Uju. When Obinna went with his people to see Okechukwu as traditions demand, they asked for the bride price. Obinna liked Uju, and Uju seemed to be in agreement. So the next logical step was for her father to produce the bride price. Okechukwu, as every other father, was very happy. Now was his time to lift himself out of poverty. This was why the gods blessed him with a daughter as beautiful as Uju. Yes, now is my time, he said. Okechukwu brought out the list as was tradition. He handed it over to Obinna's people. As Obinna and his father read the list, they became more and more in shock. What is this? Obinna's father shouted. On the list, they had 200 tubers of yam, 50 she goats, 25 boxes of wrappers, 15 kegs of palm wine, 250 kola nuts, 5 bottles of ground puff, 25 big cows, 50 male chickens, 30 bottles of original scraps. The groom also had to bring money for the opening of the gates, for the umuada, for the ndiche, the igwe, and finally the principal money for the bride price. The groom also had to build 7-bedroom duplex for Uju, one in the village and another in the city. This will cost up to $8 million in today's time. Obinna shouted, what? All of these for one woman? As if he will pay all of it and get 20 women after paying all of that. Sorry, I digress. Back to the story. Obinna shouted. He stood up. What is the meaning of this? I cannot pay all of this. I have not built a 4-bedroom bungalow for my own father. How much more a 7-bedroom duplex? Obina walked off and left. Okechukwu was not worried at all. In fact, he was happy. He was not going to give his daughter to someone who was poor and stingy, he told himself. After all, Obina was the first suitor. More will come. And more did come. But when they saw the list, they all ran away. Uju, they said, was not worth the stress. This made Uju very sad. She was getting old, her beauty was fading away. There were not many rich men in their village. Most men were medium earners. None of them had the courage to ask for her hand in marriage. Uju saw her friends getting married and have children of their own, but she was still in her father's home. This made her sad. She was very sad. What can she do? She asked herself. One day she met a man named Emeka. Emeka was a farmer. He was not poor, but he was not rich. He told her that he would ask her father for her hand in marriage. When Uju heard this, she became sad. She did like Emeka, but she knew that once he saw the list, he would run away. Emeka, true to his word, went to meet Okechukwu. He had heard about the famous bride price list, but he wanted to marry Uju. He loved her so much. He could lay his life for her. So he met with Okechukwu. Okechukwu, upon seeing him, was angry. What do you want? Emeka said he wanted to marry Uju. This made Okechukwu even more angrier. But he went in and brought out the bride price list and showed it to Emeka. He said, look here, I know that you can never in all your life afford all of this. I will advise you now, you young man, leave this place before I bring out my cutlass and cut you down. Emeka looked at Okechukwu and begged him. He said that he loved Uju with all his life. All he had, no matter how small it is, all of it belongs to her. He would give her the whole world, all that he had. He was a hard-working man. With time, his own cocoa farm would be as big, if not bigger, than the richest man in the village. Please, I love your daughter, he said. Okechukwu went in and came out with a bucket of water and threw it at Emeka. You fool! Is it love that should we eat when hunger strikes? Get out of here now before I descend on you. With that, Emeka had to leave. Uju cried and cried and cried and cried. Why me? She asked. Is it my fault that I'm beautiful? I don't want beauty again. I just want to have my own family. Uju was sad and depressed. Nothing seemed to cheer her up. One day, a man came to see Okechukwu. He said his name was Obiora. He wanted to marry Uju. Everyone was shocked. Who are you again? Okechukwu asked. The man said he lived from a faraway village. He had heard about Uju's beauty and came to see for himself. He saw her at the market square and fell in love with her, and now he's here because he wants to marry her. Okechukwu was hesitant at first. The man, being a foreigner, may not have been aware of the bride price list, but Okechukwu went in, brought out the list, and showed the man. The man, Obiora, did not flinch. He just said, okay, I will supply everything in 2 weeks. The duplex, however, will take a few months to build. I will start building them, but I would want to marry Uju as construction is going on. Okechukwu was shocked. Eh? He shouted. Are you sure? Okechukwu said. The man said, yes, I can provide everything. True to his word, he provided everything on the list. What was left were the 2 houses. Everyone was amazed. Most of all, everybody was happy for Uju. At least now she will not die an old maid in her father's house. No one asked where he got all the money from. It was only Uju that was concerned, but because everybody was happy for her, she didn't ask. Her wedding was the talk of town. There was money, cars. His friends were flaunting money everywhere. The villagers were grabbing it all. So finally, the gods have blessed this family, they said. Thank the gods. Now Uju is married. As agreed, Obiora started construction with both houses. Okechukwu was to oversee the one in the village. while Obiora will oversee the one in the city. As was tradition, Uju went to live with her new husband. All was well. After 2 weeks, Okechukwu, as was his now new practice, would dress up and go to the site of the new house where construction was going on. He was so happy these days. His suffering was over. The gods had blessed him. As he got to the site, he did not see anyone. He did not see the foundation that was laid the past week. He was surprised. He saw nothing. Where is everyone? He asked. It was as if there was no life, there was no construction going on. At first, he thought he was in the wrong piece of land, but upon confirmation, it was the right place. So where did the workers go? He asked. Where could the foundation have disappeared to? He went to Obera's house where his daughter is now living, but he found no one there. The house was no more there. Hey, Okotoriko. Eh? What is going on here? Okechukwu asked. For days, he and his kinsmen looked for Obiora and Uju, but no one saw them. It seemed like they disappeared just like that. Uju's mother Ngozi was upset. You see, I warned you. This man, no one knew him. Where he came from, nothing. Now our Uju is gone. Shut up, you woman, Okechukwu said. Are you not the one that collected the 50 boxes of wrappers? He said. It was a very serious issue. Weeks had passed and no one had seen Uju or her new husband. The villagers started whispering that the man must have been a slave trader and he had taken Uju away. To find answers, Okechukwu went to see a powerful seer, the Ezemo of Amadioha. The Ezemo said that the man, Obiora, was an evil spirit. He was never a man. All the things he had given to the family would soon start disappearing. It was all an illusion, all of which Okechukwu fell for because of his greed. Now, have you seen what you have done to your daughter? The Ezemo asked him. What can we do? Her mother asked. The Ezemo said that Uju is now trapped in the evil forest and she only had 7 days to live before her soul will be taken and she will be trapped in hell for the remainder of her being. Hey! Uju's mother shouted. I am finished! What can we do, Ezemo? Okechukwu asked. You would have to go to the evil forest and rescue her, otherwise she will die there. Now, Okechukwu was an old man. Making that type of journey was very precarious. The evil forest was not for the living. No one enters there and comes back alive. Okechukwu found it hard to find people to follow him to the evil forest. His brothers and kinsmen who had shared the goats and chickens and cows with him refused to go with him. Everything they had collected during the marriage ceremony had disappeared. That type of evil spirit that could do that was no joke, they said. He must be powerful. They valued their life and will not follow Okechukwu into the evil forest. Everyone in the village started calling Okechukwu the man who sold his daughter to the evil spirits. No one wanted to help him. No one except Emeka. Emeka came to Okechukwu and said, I will follow you. I would rescue her. Emeka and Okechukwu journeyed into the evil forest to rescue Uju. They had to free her from her spirit husband, otherwise she will be dead in a week's time. The both men had to be careful as the evil forest was filled with many evil tricks of evil spirits. One mistake and the person was gone. Both men journeyed for days into the evil forest. One day they were tired and sat under the mango tree to rest. As they were talking, Uju appeared. She was covered in gold and diamonds. Her cloth was made of the finest thread. Okechukwu was happy to see his daughter. He said, Uju, where have you been? Look at you. You look so beautiful. Uju smiled. Yes, Papa. All these were given to me by my husband. Come, follow me. He will give you more gold. Okechukwu smiled. He stretched out his hand to take Uju's hand, but Emeka stopped him. He shouted, No, that's not Uju. Uju has a kind soul. She is not one to lavishly wear gold and diamonds when there are people who are in need. Okechukwu was confused. Indeed, Uju did not usually dress like this, but this could be because of her new husband's wealth. As Okechukwu was debating whether to follow Uju or not, Emeka bent down. He picked up sand in his hand and threw it at Uju. Immediately she screamed. Her face turned into a beast, and then she disappeared. Okechukwu was shocked. "You see," Emeka said, "I told you that was not Uju. We need to leave this place immediately." And so they both ran away. They had walked for miles now, and Emeka was thirsty. They came upon a stream and decided to take some water to drink. As they were drinking the water, Okechukwu looked up. He saw further down the stream what looked like a pot of gold. He was shocked. "Are my eyes deceiving me?" he asked. He looked at Emeka, but Emeka was focused on the water he was drinking. So Okechukwu saw it as an opportunity to grab the gold for himself. As he walked into the stream towards the gold, he noticed that his feet were deep in water, but he did not care. He just needed to get closer and grab the pot, and then all will be well. As he touched the pot disappeared. Instead, it was an evil creature that woke up and attacked him. It took him up and then brought him down into the stream. What Okechukwu thought was a stream was actually a sea. It was the resting place of the Mami water spirits. Okechukwu screamed, "Help me, help me," he shouted. That's when Emeka was aware of what was happening. Okechukwu was being dragged underwater by the spirits. If he was not rescued, he will be gone forever. Using the magical flute that the Ezemo had given them, Emeka played a song, one that only the sea creature could hear. Immediately, the creature became sleepy and then fell asleep. Loosening its hold, Okechukwu was able to wiggle out and swim out of the water. Immediately, they both ran away. Again, they were back on their journey. They were both getting tired, but they had to keep going. Days had passed now, and it was only a matter of 2 days, and Uju will be dead. They got to a fork. One road went to the left, the other path went to the right. They were both confused. Which path should we take? They said. As they were talking, two spirits appeared. They were identical sisters. They were both old. "Where are you going?" one of them asked. Emeka and Okechukwu were afraid. "We're going to Obioro's house. He is a shapeshifter, a creature that changes between man and spirit." The woman on the left said, "Okay, then go down this path. This road leads to his house." The other one shouted, "No, go down this path. The right path leads to his house." Now, Emeka and Okechukwu were more confused. Which woman was telling the truth? Time was against them. They could not go through both paths. Uju will be dead by the time they pick one. So which one should they go to? Emeka then said, "Wait, one of these women is evil. The other one is good. The evil one is showing us an illusion. Remember, the Ezemo had warned us about this." Okechukwu said, yes, that's true. But which one is the good sister and which one is the evil one? Emeka then asked both women, "Which one of you is good? I know one of you is evil and is here to confuse us." Both women said they were good. Then Emeka remembered what his late father had taught him. He turned his back to both women, he spread his legs apart, then he bent down and looked at both women upside down from his open legs. Then the one on the right part was still the same. The one on the left had the head of a python. The python looked at Emeka's upside down face. Seeing that Emeka could see her true form, she lunged to attack him. Immediately, Emeka stood up. He grabbed Okechukwu's hand and they both ran down the right path. Both women disappeared. Both men ran for a bit and then they came upon a house. The house had so much light from the inside. They could hear women screaming for help. As they were about to enter the house, Obiora appeared. "What are you doing here?" he asked. "Release my daughter, you evil spirit," Okechukwu said. "Release her, you have kidnapped her from us." "Kidnap?" Obiora asked. "I kidnapped no one. You gave her to me in marriage. I paid the bride price on her head. Remember? You gave me a long list of things that I had to produce. Okechukwu hid his face in shame. How can he fight this spirit? What can he do? I want her back, Okechukwu said. All the things you gave us have disappeared. You are evil. Obiora said, that's none of my business. If you want her back, then bring back everything I gave you. Bring them back to me and I will let her go. Mm. Ah, what things? Okechukwu shouted. He was angry now and fed up. He raised his cane to attack Obiora, but using his spiritual powers, Obiora used Okechukwu's cane to tie him up. He then turned to Emeka. Leave now, he said. Otherwise, I will kill you. Emeka stood his ground. Release her. No one knew your true form when you came to ask for her hand. If they did, they would not have given her to you. Using the protection that the Ezemo had given them, Emeka used all his strength to fight Obiora and defeated him. Once defeated, Obiora disappeared and his home vanished as well. What was left were young women he had taken away from their families. Amongst them was Uju. With Emeka's help, Uju and Okechukwu were able to get back home in one piece. Seeing how much Emeka loved his daughter, and understanding that that love was more important than any money, he gave them his blessing to marry.